Summer vacation is right around the corner and you don't want to be going in blind.
So when you're headed to Disneyland in the summer, there is a lot of things to consider. We've got all the tips and tricks to help you plan the perfect summer vacation to the happiest place on earth. Hello everybody, welcome to RTD Adventures. My name is Brian.
My name is Jacob.
And we've got a big list of things that are going to help you with your summer vacation. We're going to start off with some pros and cons because there are some really great things about going in the summertime, but there's also some things that might deter you from wanting to make this trip. Pro number one, there is a far less likely chance that you're going to see rain on this vacation. It doesn't rain a ton in California to begin with, at least Southern California, but in the summertime, you are almost exclusively going to see sunshine. So the weather is going to be really awesome.
Another pro to traveling in the summertime is it's convenient, especially for families who have obviously kids because they're not in school. You don't have to worry about taking them out of school. So summertime is a great time to go on vacation to Disneyland.
Pro number three, this is a great one. There are more rides open than the rest of the year.
That's true.
Periodically throughout the year, Disneyland will do maintenance on their attractions. And this typically happens in the times where there's less travel. In the summertime, you've got more people going on vacation. So that means Disney wants those attractions to be open to help with crowd control. There's also more showings of the nighttime spectaculars like World of Color and Fantasmic. So you're going to get more rides and more shows.
Summer is also an excellent time to go because that's when new attractions and new festivals, new shows, things seem to premiere. It's also a great time to be the first to enjoy those. So be on the lookout for those as well. But summertime, great time to find those.
Throughout the year, Disneyland's hours can vary, but in the summertime, you're going to find the longest park hours. So if you're not able to take a super long trip, you've got more options to stick around longer. And in most cases, the parks are open till midnight. That means more bang for your buck when you're taking your vacation.
Another pro, something you may not have thought of when going to Disneyland, is beach time. Now, something that we like to do in the summertime, if we go, we take a day off from Disneyland and visit the beach. It's a great time to go. It's very hot, lots of things to see, beautiful beaches in California. You can play some volleyball and just check out different activities that are available on the beach. So why not? Go ahead and visit the beach the next time you're there in the summer.
So there's a good little selection of pros when it comes to taking a Disneyland vacation in the summertime, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Well, it is all sunshine. It is very hot in the summertime. There was a trip that we took a couple years ago where it got up to 113 degrees in one day.
Never again.
And quite frankly, that kind of heat can make your trip miserable. This is something you need to consider. The later in the summer you go, the hotter it tends to get. And that's not common, right? That's not to say that it will get scorching hot on your trip, but that is a possibility. So just keep that in mind.
Another thing to consider about being maybe a con on your trip in the summertime is the expense. You'll notice that maybe ticket prices, because it's peak time, tend to go up. Airfare tends to go up. Pretty much everything from like hotels to food seems to go up. So just keep that in mind. That can be a con, so just be aware that it could be an issue for your summer vacation.
And because it is summer vacation and lots of families are traveling, this is a very busy time of the year, not just for Disneyland, but for Southern California in general. It's a very touristy destination for summer break. So all around LA, you're going to see increased traffic and all the different tourist attractions are going to be covered with people. Disneyland is busy during this time. LA is busy during this time. So just be aware that there are higher crowds over the summer. And speaking of crowds, there is something that you really absolutely need to be aware of, and that is grad nights.
Grad nights.
Disneyland is host to several of these throughout the summer, and the crowds can be very busy during this time, but also the parks close early. We're talking at California Adventure, the parks actually close at 9 o'clock. That's to make room for these ticketed events, and this is for grad students only, so you're not going to be able to get in there unless you're a part of that group, but plan your trips accordingly. If you're expecting all those longer park hours during this time, you're going to be missing out, and you could be facing higher than normal crowds. So take a look at the calendar for grad nights. That's available on Disneyland's website. We're going to link that in the description down below. Be aware of this as you're planning your vacation. All right, and while that's summer break, this is a tip that goes into pretty much everything that we ever recommend, but being well informed before your trip. So in the summertime, there's more shows that are going on. There's parades. There are a lot of things that you need to be aware of. Plan ahead and make sure that you know about when those shows are. If you want to make a certain parade, if you want to watch a nighttime show, check the schedule online, make sure that you're going to be there at the right time, and just be aware of events that are going on, right? You just need to prepare a little bit so there's no surprises, right? I mean, you don't want to overplan your vacation, but it is important to know all the little details of these different events. That way nothing catches you off guard and has a chance to kind of derail things on the vacation.
Also, something to be aware of, especially in the summertime, is closures, or especially attractions that are closed for refurbishment. You can access the Disneyland's website. Of course, the app will also tell you too which rides will be closed during certain parts of the summer for refurbishment. So make sure you keep an eye on that.
Here's another one that goes into being prepared for your trip, and that's understanding how Genie Plus works. Now, because the crowds are busier, you're going to need to take advantage of some of these line skipping options. If you're planning to be there, at least during the middle of the day, right? That's when the crowds are busiest. If you're there for rope drop, you can avoid some of this. So have a good rope drop strategy, but also have a Genie Plus strategy. If you want more information about Genie Plus, we're going to be linking that in the description down below so you can check out how to use this feature.
Traveling to Disneyland in the summer can be super exciting. However, you need to plan in advance. So what I'm talking about is restaurant reservations. Now, you can't assume that your favorite restaurant is going to be open to you, especially in the summertime. Crowds are pretty heavy. Make sure you plan in advance and make reservations in advance. We can't stress that enough. Make reservations in advance. Get to your favorite restaurants.
So like we said earlier, it can be very hot in the summertime. Now, not every day is guaranteed to be hot, but of course this time of year is warmer than the rest. So you need to be prepared to deal with that heat. Here's a few tips to help with that. Number one, show up early. That means at the park opening time for rope drop. This isn't always feasible for families with small kids, but if you can do this, we highly, highly recommend it. Of course, the mornings are going to be cooler than the rest of the day. So if the heat is something you're worried about, try to get there as early as possible.
A solid strategy that might save you during the summertime is finding a nice shaded area and of course a cold refreshment of some kind, whether that's a nice delicious Dole Whip or a drink of one of your favorite drinks that you have in the parks. We can't stress this enough to also be safe, especially because it's so hot. You need to make sure you're drinking lots of water. So lots of water, lots of cool refreshments of some kind, lots of shade. Make sure you're staying safe and cool in the summertime to beat the heat.
And one more tip to help you survive the heat, check out indoor shows. We're talking great moments with Mr. Lincoln, checking out the Hyperion in California Adventure when they've got their shows going on, or the animation building. There's a lot of great activities that can be done inside. So when it gets hot, plan for the afternoon to be spent in those cool locations.
Yes. Small world. Another tip that could save you from the heat is preparing to get on those water rides. Plan in advance. What time is the hottest part of the day? Do you want to be in that water ride during the hottest part of the day? Do you want to be getting on that ride right before the peak of the heat, so you're kind of drying off during that time? It's kind of up to you, but make sure you get to those water rides. It'll save you. So I'm talking about Splash Mountain, soon to be Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Grizzly River Rapids, there's a couple of them in each park. Make sure you head to those rides, especially when it's very hot. On this summer vacation, for you to have the best time with you and your party, whether that's your family or friends, is to make sure your trip isn't too strict, but it's also good to have an itinerary. And what I mean by that is it's good to have conversations before the trip. Like, we love doing that. What are we going to be doing in one of the parks? But at the same time, make sure there's room in your day to do things and unexpected. Things pop up in Disneyland all the time that you were not planning. So make sure you don't have too strict of a planned day, each day. And then also make sure you're not too loose. Because if you're sitting there going, I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? You're wasting time. You could be in line for, a really short line for, your favorite ride. So make sure you plan it out with your friends. Make sure you talk about it. And so you have a good trip all together and nobody's upset.
And talk to everybody and see what they want to do.
Yeah.
Because if one person is planning the entire vacation, you may not actually have a trip that's going to be fun for everybody. If one person loves to do all the rides and another person just wants to spend their whole vacation eating, one person is going to love the trip, one person's going to hate it. Do a good mix.
Yeah.
Talk to everybody and see what they want to do, and just try to plan for the most important things so everybody has the best trip ever.
So are you going during summer vacation? Have you learned enough to, prepare yourself so that you're ready to go? Let us know in the comments below if you are headed to Disneyland this summer, and let us know if there's anything that we may have missed, any awesome tips that you may have for everybody.
And you know what? Going to Disneyland is a lot of fun, but like we've said earlier, it has to be planned out. So what we want you guys to do is check out the link on the screen for how to use Genie Plus. Click or tap that right there. You're going to become an expert just by watching that video. You'll go in prepared and you'll have the best trip ever. Once again, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always,
thanks for watching.